you all of those different people on the leadership team that work with us. So I'm going to go into that in a little bit, but it gives us a more hands-on approach to coaching teachers and supporting students. So we have a foundation of a couple of things, which is academic excellence, moral focus, student responsibility, and parent partnership. And those are our pillars. That's what we build everything on top of. So we definitely focus strongly on our academic curriculum, making sure that it's relevant and it's rigorous, but we also focus on moral focus, which is a curriculum that we have that really just teaches to the heart of our students, because at the end of the day, we want our students to be good people. Like, we want them to be leaders in the community, and in order to grow towards that, we have to talk about things like the word respect, things like the word compassion, like wisdom, and really teach them strategies to implement how to be wise, how to be respectful, how to show gratitude, just like we're giving them strategies to read and then to complete math problems. I mean, it's the same kind of thing. So we definitely focus in on both of those things, as well as student responsibility and then parent partnership. So later in the presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we get our parents involved, but those are 4 fundamental beliefs that we have at Johnston. All right, college. So when we do student assemblies, I'm always telling the students, I want you to be able to have a choice. I want you to be college and career ready, whatever that looks like to you. So I want you, when you're, and I'll point to like teachers in the building, or I'll point to myself, or, whatever, and I'll say, when you get to be our age, I want you to be able to choose whatever career you want and whatever college you want. Sorry, don't know what just happened there. Can you hear me, Ms. Dawson?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, so strange how that just muted me mid-presentation. So did you hear me talk about college and career ready?
You had just started it and then it muted.
All right, so let's go back and
all right. Slide 7. Yep.
So this, you heard some of that, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so just what I was saying there was that we talk about this all the time with our students. So we want them to be ready for college or career, whatever that is. And so building foundational skills so that they can have a choice. And that's a word that they hear me say a lot. We are building skills so that they have a choice, so that they can compete in a career and in a college arena. And also I think what I was also saying is that growing up in Johnston County and knowing that process, and then myself going forward into college and applying for scholarships, I'm extremely passionate about preparing our students, not just academically, but also in the realm of just like public speaking and social skills, and going back to that moral focus, like how are you interacting with others and communicating so that you can share what you know. Another really cool thing about our school is we have great teachers, and that's something that we take really seriously. It's really important because we talk a lot about this, that students learn from people that they like. And when they like you, it's because you've taken the time to get to know them. You've taken the time to give them positive feedback. You've taken the time to encourage them. And so we absolutely have some amazing teachers at our school. And then going back to the conversation about deans. So I talked a lot about what's the same. So our school being very similar to traditional public school. The thing that makes it really different and really unique and specialized is, first of all, just the size So when you have 3 teachers on one grade level, that creates a smaller environment. So the students know all of the teachers in the building. Every morning when they walk by, I see 3rd grade students who walk by their kindergarten teachers, and then their first grade teachers, and then last year's teachers, and they're giving hugs, and they're starting the day off on a good foot. Because everybody knows each other. But the deans are something that makes our school really, really unique. And I can speak from experience. When I first started teaching it's like 15 years ago, I was teaching in Wake County, and I saw my principal 2 times a year. That was it. She came in. She was fabulous, but she came in twice to my classroom. After that, we would meet, we would talk, and then I never saw her again. The reality is that bringing new teachers need a lot more support than just that. Our deans, their offices are right across the hall from the teachers that they serve, and they are having weekly meetings with these teachers. And not only just weekly meetings, they're in those classrooms also weekly. So they know what's going on. They know how to support, because as teachers become more seasoned teachers, they become a little more autonomous. But being new to the career, the support of the deans is just unmatched. And then that trickles down to our students. They're able to watch, they're able to listen, they're able to support, and just give a different level of support that is unmatched than anywhere else that I've ever seen. Our buildings, our physical building is, it has 20 plus classrooms. So again, it's not super large, but that's because we only have 3 teachers per grade level, except in kindergarten. And we do that very purposefully so that we work in a very close-knit, collaborative environment. We do have all of the things such as the gym, the art room, the music room, the playground, all of those things that an elementary, middle school would have. We have those things. And then we're just very secure. So safety is a priority for me, and it really should be for every principal. But for me, I talk to the staff about this all the time. Making sure that our kids are safe at school is my top priority. And we have a very secure system on how people enter the building. Everyone has to sign in if they come in. We also have a doorbell. So someone has to ring a doorbell. Our OA or our registrar has to look at the person's face, identify that person, then they allow them to come in, which is still a locked space. Then they speak to that person, and then they're allowed to come into the office after that, depending on that situation. So very secure situation. Commitment. So we are absolutely committed to our students, and we want our students to be committed to their learning. So we talk a lot about student ownership. We want them to care. And so we find ways to get them involved and to get them to care. All right, I don't know why that just exited, but I'm gonna from current slide. And so I wanted to talk about this. So we're talking a little bit more about student success and where kids succeed. And I thought the best way to really show you that is just to see what's going on in our everyday life at Johnston. So these are pictures from like just last week, 2 weeks ago. We had Spirit Week, and students were able to dress up and encourage them to what's your favorite college, all of these different things. What's your favorite, who's a role model that you have? And so these are just students at our school. So I wanted to give you just an insight to what it looks like every day. This is on the playground. This is outside waiting for dismissal. This is also on our field close to our playground as well. And the other really cool thing, when we talk about student ownership, taking ownership over their learning, we're building leaders. Leadership is really important to me. And the reason why it's so important is because I want students to advocate for the things that they need and communicate. And the only way we get better about advocating for ourselves and communicating is practice. And so we did run student government recently. And so students were able to make their own campaign posters. Every student in the school voted. Here's more pictures from career day, students in the hallway. I just wanted you to see like a glimpse into our actual school building. Here are 2 teachers at our school. This is the entryway, but I wanted to show you this. So students were campaigning for student government. And so they were creating videos. They were having speeches. They were giving out these, like all of those prizes that are in those trays also had like vote for this student, because they were learning what it feels like to campaign and to advocate for yourself. And then on the final day, every student, kindergarten through 8th grade, were able to watch all of the campaign videos. We watched it on during an assembly, and every student learned that process of what it looks like to vote and to elect someone that represents your school so that they have a voice for you. And so this is our current student body government, and it's the president, vice president, secretary, and representatives. And so that's a little insight just into our school. That kind of wraps up this presentation, but I wanted to stop sharing and so that I can see all of you that are on the call. Okay, so stop sharing. So the biggest thing that I want you to hear tonight is that JCA has just been a really unique opportunity for our families and our students. Just from experience, like I said, growing up in Johnston County, and I've experienced that the school system. I've experienced what it looks like to be a kindergartner, a middle schooler, and then a high schooler. I have had that experience of teaching in different places. And what I really love about Johnston is that our teachers and our parents and our staff really come together truly like a village to support our students, so that they feel loved and they feel cared for. And then, but not just that, like they're super successful because we take academics really seriously. And because of that dean model, we're able to know, like, okay, this student not only is struggling here in math, but this is specifically where they're struggling. And this is the standard that they're struggling on. And so we just go right into that area of weakness and then grow them. And then on the opposite end, when our students are overperforming or they are higher than grade level at that time, we see that, and then we're able to offer programs, and then we're able to offer we have a couple of individualized programs that we use, but we're also allowed to just move at a faster pace and push into next year grade level standards. The biggest question that I get is, do we offer like an AG program, like an accelerated program? And the reality is that we do that every day in the classroom because of the way we enroll our students. And so when we get data on our students, when we understand where our students are performing, we place them in specific classrooms based on their academic ability, so that they either are in an accelerated class where they're moving at a faster pace, or they are in a class where there's more support or intervention or services that are used there. So it just kind of goes both ways. I know in some places that's very different. So a student would go to like a AIG class 1 day a week or something, that's something that I've seen. So that's a little bit different. But then the last thing I would just say is the accessibility of the dean. So we always encourage parents to talk to the teachers. We always encourage you to reach out and build that relationship with the teachers. But then we also have that next level of an assistant principal dean who's always there to answer questions and support as needed. And so I'll just say those are the two biggest differences. So that's an insight into our school. I'd love to hear if you have questions, because I know if you are new to learning about JCA, maybe you have a family member that already attends JCA. I just want to be able to answer some questions that you might have. All right. Yes, Miss Moore.
Yes. So I was wondering about, it's K through 8, and then what do they do after 8, like for high school? Where do most of the kids go?
That's a really good question. So right now, JCA is outperforming all of our surrounding schools. So meaning the schools closest to us, the schools in the county, and we also outperformed the state this year in math and in ELA. So for that reason, because we're a high-performing charter school, we've had a lot of requests to build on and to build a 9th through 12th grade. And that is really exciting, to be honest, because that's the biggest question that we get. And that's in the process. That's in the works. We are not announcing because we can't say, right this second exactly what's happening behind the scenes, because there's a lot of things that have to happen with the state. But those conversations are happening, and we're very close to announcing what's coming next. So the first thing, so just a kind of a quick answer is mostly we just get asked to build a high school. And then the second thing is it really depends because our kids are spread out. There's some in Wake County, some in Johnston. So we're very spread out. So it depends on where their base school is from there. So there's not necessarily a great answer to that right now, which is why we're trying to solve that problem. All right. I think I saw a question, speak a little bit about curriculum and programming. Sure. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen and show you one more thing. So at Johnston, I have something called the Principal Print. This is a digital newsletter. Ms. Dawson, can you see that? I just want to make sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the goal with the Principal Print is to build parent partnership, but also just make sure everybody's on the same page and understand what's going on. So a little overview of this. We have a couple of quick links. So we have quick links. We have suggestion box and shout outs. So when parents have suggestions for us of things that they'd like to see worked on or improved or things we're doing well, they're able to add that there. But we have a lot of things here. Parent Academy is the gist of that is just different sessions that I have with parents, emails that I send out, resources that I send out, and I just keep it here just in case we want to come back and reference it. And then I'll also put in front of parents like what's coming up. So, in December, like what's the topic or what are we going to be discussing? So I do that. The how-to button has our pillars. So I talked about our pillars earlier: moral focus and academic excellence, student responsibility, parent partnership. And under each of these tabs, this is a ton of information, probably more information than you even want to know about curriculum. But going back to following state standards, we absolutely follow state standards. So what North Carolina is asking us to do, we are following that. And then here are specific links. I'm happy to send this out. It's really for registered families, but if you wanted to explore that more, we could send you some links. But it's how to understand curriculum and then how to understand like check-ins. This is a great example. So curriculum in 3rd through 8th grade, they also teachers also administer state check-ins. And when you click on NC check-ins 3-5 math, let's just say. So you click on this, it gives you an overview of exactly what our teachers are focusing on every trimester as we prepare for these check-ins. And then if you need additional information about standards, we always kind of answer questions that come up. But then the other cool thing that we did recently is we sent out to all of our families basically like a curriculum is a heavy load because there's a lot that goes into curriculum and what we're doing with curriculum. But the teachers create videos, what we kind of call it curriculum night, curriculum videos, and they send out videos to every family to say, okay, this is our curriculum and these are the core areas that we're focused on in this grade level. And this is how you can support your learner at home. And then this is what's happening in the classroom. So they broke it down. So if there's a grade level that you need support with, then, you can always email Ms. Dawson after and just say, hey, I was wondering specifically about 3rd grade curriculum or 4th grade curriculum. And we can send you that video that like breaks that down even more. But on this page there's also a couple of things. So student responsibility, just what we expect. We like to be really clear about our expectations. I always believe that students can be successful if we set them up for success and we show them the target and we don't move the target. Like no one works well with a moving target. So we're really clear with students about what we need from them and what we expect from them and how to be successful at our school. And then parent partnership, just really specific ways of how to get involved and how to partner with us and what that looks like and what do we need in that, like what time, all of the logistical things that help our school run smoothly. And then help and support is where we are really clear about who to reach out for support. So I think I just saw in the chat box a question about EC services. So can you talk about special needs and what you offer for support? Yeah. So what I wanted to show you here was we have an academic support dean, and she specializes in in EC services, special education, 504 intervention, EL, and she is committed to supporting our students and our teachers that work with our special education students and students that have a individualized plan of learning. She is the person that supports us with that. Of course, we all do that, but that she is the dean over intervention and EC services. And then the last thing I was going to show you before I get back to the questions is hot topics. So that's really big for schools because there's ever changing. Like as soon as we got into the pandemic and COVID-19 happened, and it's a constant change. We're in an environment that things change and things come from the state that then we have to implement. And so hot topics is where I talk about everything that's changing or new topics or things that we've discussed, things that are upcoming, or just if I start getting a couple of questions from parents, that tells me that that's a hot topic and it needs to be addressed. And so it's our way of communicating really well with our students. With our parents and students. So I'm going to go back to, I have a child with, so what would be offered compared to public school? I don't know that I can speak to that because I don't know what your experience has been at a public school. We follow the law, and that's what I can say about that. So when a student has an IEP, we make sure that we're following what that says, and we're revisiting it to make sure that's accurate. That's a big thing that I've seen. Is when our deans read IEPs, making sure that that support is the support that child actually needs. So that is a piece of that. But again, I don't know the experience that you've had at a public school, so I can't speak to that. Are all teachers certified with the state? Yeah, so all of our teachers, so licensure in North Carolina is when teachers go through a teacher program and then they get licensed in the state of North Carolina, yes. So the goal is that all of our teachers are licensed. The reality is that if a teacher teaches in Alabama and or Atlanta or somewhere like that, and then they move, so I can give you a great example of that. A fantastic teacher moves into North Carolina. There's a lot of things that they have to do to technically get licensed in North Carolina. Sometimes that means taking the praxis test. Sometimes that means paying a fee. Sometimes that means just simply getting a hold of DPI to update their account. So in some areas, we have someone that is a fantastic teacher working towards licensure, but it's simply because they move states. And that's very similar to if you see like a licensed therapist, licensed counselor, you have to get recertified in that state, even though you went through an educational program. So, but yeah, most all of our teachers are, but when they aren't, we're always figuring out how to make that work for them. How many spots are available for each grade level for the next school year? Can you speak to that?
Yes, ma'am, I can. So each grade level, we're not going to know until right before the lottery happens if we have spots come available, just because we give our current families an opportunity to re-enroll, and that starts in December, and it goes until the end of February at the end of open enrollment. Once we know how many spots we'll have, we'll know the day of typically the lottery. But for kindergarten, we have 84 spots open, which I think mainly some of our parents that are on tonight are for kindergarten. But we typically have a few spots open up for each grade level each year. But we also move that list. So if you get waitlisted after the lottery, we move that during the summer. So typically our first few on our waiting list to maybe 25, 30 in will get that acceptance email before school. Not a guarantee. Some grades are pretty stable, but there are some openings.
Student to teacher ratio, that really depends on the grade level. Sometimes it's anywhere between 22 and 28 students. And does someone have their hand up? You can go ahead and ask your question. or maybe you took it down. Okay. I know you mentioned children are evaluated through the school. However, children tested upon. Yes. So our children tested before kindergarten. Yes. So a big part of getting ready for school is we like to bring our kindergartners in before school, and we do something called a kinder camp. And that is leading up to the first day of school so that they can just get acclimated before all of the students are in the building. They get to learn their teacher. We're all there to kind of learn carpool together, do all of that together. And in those days and during that time, we do evaluate your student so that we understand about their needs and how to move forward. So yeah, we do that. And then if a parent just absolutely can't make that, we make accommodations and we figure it out maybe at the beginning of the school year. Does anybody have other questions about academics, about just processes at our school?
You said the lottery is on December for the kindergarten?
No, our lottery is March 8th at 9 p.m. It's going to be a live stream through YouTube. And if you aren't able to make it, our registrar, Miss Long, is extremely amazing. And since it's going to be so early in the morning, I'm going to go ahead and anticipate she's going to have those letters out by the late afternoon, early evening. Typically, when we have a nighttime lottery, she has them out before 10 a.m. the next day. So I'm going to think she's going to have them out before the end of the business day on March 8th, just because I know how hardworking she is, and she really wants you guys to have that information as soon as possible. You'll have it within 24 hours of the lottery. Anticipate it coming in that late afternoon. And then our wait list letters will go out short to follow within 48 hours after the lottery.
Miss Zane, do you have a question?
Thank you.
Yes, sorry. I have a question. I was the one that had asked about special needs. Through the school system, when there's 3, they can go through the early intervention programs and things. Do you guys, I know since you guys start at kindergarten, do you offer anything like that earlier for younger kids, or is it more just till they're 5 and get tested when they enter into kindergarten?
That's a really great question. We don't offer any kind of pre-K services right now, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I would love to see that happen, but right now we're not offering that.
Okay. And they for like someone that's like diagnosed with autism, would they, just like everyone else, go to that summer camp and be evaluated with everyone else, or would they do some different kind of testing because they do have special needs specific?
Yeah, so well, a couple of things would happen. So if a kindergartner comes to us, they would go through just kind of a screener process. But if you're a family that already knows that your student has a diagnosis, then you would give us that paperwork from a doctor, and then we would start creating an individualized plan for your student. So it really varies, especially with autism, because there's some students that absolutely function really great in the general education classroom most of the time, and then there's some that need additional support, and it just is based on so I guess probably what you're asking is, we have a licensed psychologist who does that testing for us to make sure that we are covering all of our bases, understanding that student, and then we have an IEP meeting or an individualized educational plan meeting where we talk with that parent, understand the results of that testing, and then kind of pave a way forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming, just like in the public school system, you would offer, if they qualify for OT, speech, and different things.
Exactly.
School.
Exactly. Yeah, we have really great providers for that. Our speech pathologist is amazing. Our OT is amazing. All of those providers are fantastic. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Does the school offer extracurricular activities? Oh, yeah. So I forgot to add that to the slideshow. Yes, that's been a really exciting thing because last year, because of COVID, we couldn't do this, but now we're back in action with that. Our middle schoolers are doing fantastic with their sports. Miss Dawson is actually our volleyball coach, and the volleyball team had a great season. Soccer, we've moved into boys basketball tryouts and women's basketball tryouts this week, which is really exciting. So we have all of those after school sports for our middle schoolers. And then we also have clubs. So clubs are actually rolling out very soon, where we send out a list of clubs, after school clubs that students can participate in, and all of the different options. This year we're looking at, there's just a lot. Like, I don't have the form in front of me, but our music teacher is going to put on a Shrek play. So they're going to have a musical. That's going to be a club. The art teacher is going to be helping with that, with the props. And so that's art. We have a diversity club. We have a chess club, all of these different things. So we do have opportunities for students to get involved because we do believe in that balance. Absolutely. We absolutely believe in that balance.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Going back to the open spots, I applied for a 5th grader and a 7th grader. And if there's not any spots that you have open, will we find out that they won't be moving into the lottery, or that you won't have any spots open before March?
So no, and the only reason why we give our current families until a few days prior to lottery to let us know their re-enrollment decisions.
Okay.
But I do tell parents, especially for middle school parents in the upper grade levels, we move our wait lists for middle school. And I don't want to say pretty quickly as a negative towards our school. It's just one of those it's a really hard transition time for kiddos. So right up until the first day of school, they're ready to come, and then they change their mind and don't want to. So we have to give families 5 days before we can move on to the next family. So it takes time to go through our waiting list. And so we'll call families a week or 2 weeks into school saying, hey, you were number 22 or 16 on the wait list. Do you still want your spot? We move that wait list. So we tell parents for the most part, you may go to the wait list except for kindergarten. But we move through it prior to school starting, and then we move it a lot at the first few days of school, especially for middle school. Just because it is that transition grade. And once your middle schooler is accepted, or even a younger grade, we have what's called sibling preference. And so what happens is if one sibling is accepted, the other is as well, but moves up on the waiting list if there's no open spots. So we have a sibling preference wait list, and they'll go in order from when they were accepted to go with their accepted students, because we want to pull families together as much as possible. So we really do try to keep you guys as a whole. So we tell parents and families just to bear with us, because we really do try to get in the entire family instead of just an individual kiddo.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the question is, what about kindergarten? Could you explain a little more about that and the lottery for them?
Yes. So for kindergarten, we will have 84 open seats. We have 22 in a classroom for kindergarten. It's going to be the biggest opening that we have. We pull for staff and board preference first for every single grade, regardless of which one comes first, and which grade we pull is also completely random. So hypothetically, if kindergarten is pulled first, we pull staff and board preference, then we pull sibling preference, and then we'll pull from the general public for applications to fill those open spots, and then we pull for our wait list. We've had a varying amount of preference kiddos, and that includes both staff, board, and sibling. We've had as many as 44, and we've had as few as 24, which gives us 60 seats. And then we always oversubscribe by 3 or 4, not a big ton for kindergarten, right after the lottery. So you'll have anywhere from 84 to 60 open seats for kindergarten. And it's completely random. It doesn't matter when you register or fill out an application. There's no preference to that time period.
So once you're enrolled, right, and say, the next grade, I have to do a lottery again for re-enrollment?
No, you don't. So what's going to happen is, and another reason why it takes us a little bit to get answers from families is starting in December, we send out an email or a link with our re-enrollment information on it. So an email goes out to our parents saying, please register on your parent portal if you would like to re-enroll. And it's literally, because I do it for my 2 kids who are in the school. And even if I'm the admissions representative, I still do it every year. So I go in and I click re-enroll for the upcoming school year. And it's just one click of a button. And so we give our current families time from December to right before the lottery. We really close it off at the end of open enrollment, and then we call each family who has not re-enrolled their child before lottery to see if they're trying to give up their seat. We give them that opportunity to click that re-enroll button, and then we'll call every single family who doesn't click re-enroll or who clicks no to make sure they want to give up their seat. So it's not a big process of filling out an application again or going through a lottery. It's just clicking a button, yes or no, for re-enrollment.
Does that also account for, like, say they're going to middle school?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of your question.
Does that count also
It's
if they're going to
K-8.
middle school?
It counts for all grades.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? We're happy to answer them.
And I'm sorry, I don't know if I introduced myself. I think most of you guys have gotten an email from me today, but I'm Kara Dawson, the admissions representative for Johnston. If you would like to come in and take a tour, I have availabilities on Thursday. The link in the email that I sent you guys within the last week has that tour calendar on it, or I can also send you a text with that response on there as well.
Well, if anybody doesn't have any more questions, we are just happy that you joined us to learn more about our school. We're also just available, just as Ms. Dawson said, you can come tour in the building with us. You can stop by, or you can email us. If you have any questions, reach out to Ms. Dawson. She can connect you with myself or anybody else on our staff if you have things that pop up later and you want those questions answered. We're happy to do that. We know that sometimes, and I understand this, but when you hear charter, you're not sure what that means. But at the end of the day, our school is just is backed by a very large company, National Heritage Academies, that supports our school. Our service center is not in North Carolina, it's in Michigan, but it basically is a team of people and a lot of people that support our students. So you see the faces at our school, and those are everyday faces that are always at school, but we also have other people that support our school as it relates to curriculum, as it relates to our school building, and just making sure that our students are really doing or we're doing everything that we can to make sure our students are thriving. And the cool thing about that is we're able to collaborate with professionals all over the country. So understanding that we do it a certain way in North Carolina, and we have specific standards that we believe are important. And so that's, the curriculum that's based out of North Carolina, but we can also collaborate with school leaders and educators all across the country that work within our organization to then make sure that we're still constantly one step ahead and collaborating together so that we are just just together with the help of parents, creating students that are just lifelong learners, that love school, that love learning, and that want to take ownership and see success in the future, now, all of those things. So that's a really cool thing that we get to partner with other schools and other places. I think that makes us unique to our area. But thank you for joining us. We really appreciate taking time out of your day, and just again, reach out to us if you have any questions.
We also have an event this Saturday. It's called the Mulchin Lunch with Principal McClure and myself and all of our current families. We're just beautifying the school. So if you have free time from 8:30 to 11:30 and you like to shovel mulch at the school, please come and join us, because it was a very informal setting just to come hang out and get to know us a little bit.
Yeah, that would be great. And you can meet some of our parents, some of our staff that might be there, and just that would be a great way if you would like to come out. We'd love to see. You can see the campus then, so that would be great.
You guys have a great evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, bye.